Today we're going to be time traveling back to the year 1990 when a TV show was filmed here at Universal Studios, Florida. The name of that TV show was Super Force. It aired from October 1990 to May of 1992. And don't worry, not a lot of people have heard about it either. Hi everybody and welcome to the World of Micah. When Universal Studios Florida first opened, this place was more or less a filming studio first, and they had theme park attractions here, but this place was definitely the East Coast Hollywood, the Hollywood East as they called it. Lots of television shows, lots of music videos, lots of movies were filmed in this area, and a lot of those TV shows and films chose Universal Studios Florida as the perfect backlot for their production. And today we're going to be talking about a TV show called Super Force that had only 2 seasons from 1990 to 1992. We're going to find some of the filming locations from throughout the series. They're just kind of different episodes throughout the 2 seasons. I found a lot of locations here at Universal, and I figured we could go and track down those spots and see exactly what it looked like back in those days. You guys are going to get to tag along now. Let's take a closer look. Let me give you a brief description of what the TV show was all about. The TV show is about a former astronaut that turned cop who uses a highly advanced power exoskeleton and motorcycle to fight crime in the city of Metroplex during the year 2020. The future. And this is what would always come up before the main title. In 2020, times are tough. This man's tougher. Boy, did they get that right. 2020 was tough. Lots of things happened in this episode. We're about to find a few scenes from this specific episode involving a toy store. Right here was the fake facade they built for the toy store, and the reason I know this is a few shots are seen with things in the background from inside of the facade. Now, pay attention to a few things I'm about to show you and you'll kind of get the idea of where and why they built this. Now, if you pay attention here to the left-hand side, look at the concrete here right on the curb. It's white. Now, in the photograph I'm about to show you, they would have extended the concrete right over here, and this would have all been where they had the facade, and they would have painted the strip white, and it connects with this side. You will see that photograph right now. Look at the very bottom of the screen. You can see the concrete, how they built it and put that white strip around Lou Galoob Toys. Now, the reason I know this was the spot is not just because of that white strip, because that could have been done anywhere on property. The next shot shows the villain stepping inside of the facade, and you can see a building behind him. So we're gonna walk over here just like we're walking into this toy store. Now we are inside the toy store facade right now, and in the background you have this shot right here. Now look to the left of the villain's shoulder. You can see that building and the light. And I'm going to show you the building again. You see the light? That light pole right there, and you can see this building and all these lights on his left shoulder. Once again, I'm going to show you the villain. And then there's the building. So inside, the toy store would have been right here where I'm standing. This was later destroyed in the episode. Now this is the 90s, so in typical 90s form, the villain is driving a monster truck, as villains do in the 90s. Everything's big, you know, you gotta think over the top for the 90s. Now, so he blows up the toy store, and there's all rubble and toys and everything, and Zack Stone gets over here, and you can see him standing right in front of this white curb paint line. The fire is going to be out here, and all the facade that they just tore up was right here. So it was just built for this scene. Kind of incredible if you think about it. They built the whole thing here just to be actually blown up here on set and never used again. And now it's used for entrances to Halloween Horror Nights and all kinds of stuff right through that gate. They used that for the entrance to some of the houses that they put into Shrek 3D. Now right here we can see when the monster truck takes its big turn, it's gonna make a big turn right here. You can see this tree, this pole, all the stuff in the background of this shot. You can even see the lights that are below the palm tree. And you can see some of the stars from the Hollywood Walk of Fame they have here at Universal. How crazy is that? Ironically, the villain's monster truck said American on the side. Now the truck would have made its big escape right along this stretch of road here in between these two lines, and this was also a time before Terminator 2 3D or the Bourne Stuntacular. So the building you will see here in a minute is what this place originally looked like, and you will also be able to see those shades, those overhangs right there, those little canopies. You will be able to see the stripes of those canopies and these lights on this next shot. I'm gonna back up and show you exactly where it took place. It would have been somewhere around here. This building here was not here, but that light, this building, and those canopies were, in this line right here is exactly where the big rig would have been driving down. There was another car to its left and a car on the right, just to show size, because you know, size matters totally to villains back in those days. But that's it right there. He was making his getaway here. Little did he know someone was waiting for him all the way down Hollywood Boulevard. So we are more or less in the point of view from the camera inside the monster truck. It would have been pulling this direction right here, and you can see in the shot he passes by this crosswalk here. Now this is the photograph I took, the screen grab I got. There were some signs here, and you can see this and some of the lights in the distance. This is where he was heading, and little did he know, Zack Stone, the main character of Superforce, was standing there waiting for him. They had a shot right up here with these palm trees and that crest sign right over there. You can see in the shot, this was a low shot looking up at the big rig, the monster truck, as it was driving towards the camera. Then, in this shot, this is where we see Zack Stone in all of his glory on his motorcycle, and you can see Ralph's there in the distance. He was standing here waiting for him. See what I'm saying with the costume? Like, he looks like RoboCop, like a futuristic RoboCop. Well, RoboCop looked futuristic, but this was more Back to the Future Part 2, if you will. It's another shot of Zack. He was standing here holding a gun, just waiting for the perfect time to attack. You can see the Pantages Theater right behind him, and the lights. The lights are still here, and he would have been standing right here with the gun painting towards him. And I believe on the marquee, it said the Horror Makeup Show. It would have totally been the Universal Horror Makeup Show on that marquee back in those days. Now Zack Stone would have had his motorcycle parked right here. You can see Macombo and that light right in the distance of his shot, including this curb too. Pretty crazy. So many action sequences happened right here on this stretch of road in a theme park. One of my favorite shots right here, they had a banner saying Street Fair above the street. They had some cars here. You can see that building in the background next to the Regal Cafe, and Finnegan's Bar and Grill sign is in there. It just has another blue banner in front of it. The main character would have been walking to the right in this shot right here. They used a lot of this street here at Universal Studios right next to Sting Alley. This is known as Delancey Street, and this street has been used in a lot of TV, commercials, and movies. It's also the home of the Blues Brothers show here, and where you can get a drink and fish and chips. I highly recommend the fish and chips here at Finnegan's. Now the next spot we're gonna go is right down here, which is connected to the backside of this building, which is home to what they call Sting Alley. A few shots were done down here. Also, this is where they shot a lot of the opening sequences to the Nickelodeon TV show, all that. And right here was one of the shots. You can see this building here, which is the Melodian Music Company. It's a storefront here, a facade, if you will. This is the Melodian Music Company Records. But in the photo, you can see the main character walking down the street, and they added a digital sign above the building to make it look, I guess, more futuristic, like they were in the year 2020. This is what it looks like now here at Delancey Street. Everything looks pretty much the same as far as the shell of the building, but right up here is where they had the digital marquee going by with everything, telling the temperature and all that. That's kind of cool. They would add that here, but he would have been standing right here, and in the windows they did remove all of the musical equipment. Now there was a shot in the show that you could see the Melodian Music sign, and they got down at an angle about right here, and you can see the main character talking to a female co-star there, and the Melodian Music right side of her head. Behind him you can see the building to the left. They were right about here. So they did keep the Melodian Music Record Emporium sign in on a few of these shots. And right here was the shot underneath the hardware sign. You can see it says hardware, tools, and cutlery right up here, in the EA Boker and Sons sign. They did not even change that. Even that light right there can be seen in this shot. The main character guy would have been standing right about here. Pretty insane. They just added a bunch of metal trash cans here, and voila, there you have it. Now at this time, during, you know, Universal Studios Florida, the theme park, if you would have just looked right here, Murder, She Wrote would have been right there, post-production. That was the old Murder, She Wrote building. But if you turn the camera just a little bit like this, you have a whole downtown movie set. I love this kind of stuff. So in a certain episode, the main character would have walked right through here, and he was standing right about here, and the two villains were standing right over here. You can see it matches up right about here. You can even see this in the background, that building from Delancey Street. All of this still looks the same. They definitely changed this to the right, but here's the photograph. Very interesting, right? He met up with some pretty tough dudes back here. When they were filming all that, they had the kids right here on a trampoline. So this area of South Street is what the sign says, but this is known as Sting Alley. This whole area is used for a lot of filming. And here he is talking to a female co-star in the TV show, using the same area. Behind his head, you can see Delancey Street. And to the left of the actress's head, you can see that staircase and wall. This is what it currently looks like in the year 2021, a year after this was supposed to be taking place. Now this next shot is one of my favorites because it'll show you a time when Delancey Street did not have the stage for the Blues Brothers show here at Universal. The stage was not here during the 90s. When they first started, they would actually do the show in the street here. But right over here is this shot. What you are about to see is exactly the stoop in the buildings we are looking at, including this light that's going to be shown, the light on the door here, and none of this is going to be in this shot you see in 3, 2, 1. Completely different time from the 90s. Tell ya, a couple of years would go by and they would end up building the stage here, but this is the stoop, and there were some bad dudes standing right over here on the stoop. They were sitting right there. It's pretty crazy. Another shot was taken, I believe the camera was standing more about over in this angle here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's kind of up like this. Now, this wasn't the Annie Ann's back in those days. It looks like it was almost like cakes is what it says, but I'll zoom in and you guys can see on the left-hand side the letters A-K-E-S. That light right there can be seen, so let me fix it. It's more or less like this, because that light can be seen and this. So this light and this is what you're going to pay attention to. But the stoop area you're seeing here did not have the stage. So this is what it looked like in the year 1990 when they were filming this TV series. Pretty impressive. Not sure what year they built this stage, but pretty impressive nonetheless that this was the building and the facade they used in Superforce. He was walking right down here next to Finnegan's, and the way it's shot, it's like a close-up of all of this stairs and all the posts here, but they still line up, including the street lights here. He would have been walking right through here. You can see this pole and these in the shot, and he would have been walking right towards the camera right there. This was the futuristic city in the year 2020. What's interesting is if you look at the street poles, they still have the same design on them to this day. So right here would have been his point of view. He would have been walking towards the camera and the crew, looking around and trying to keep the area safe. Superforce. Great concept for a TV show, you know. It's like RoboCop and Terminator. Very popular for the 90s, early 90s. All right, we took care of Sting Alley and Delancey Street. The next place we're heading is right over here next to the Palace Arcade, and we're gonna be looking down at Louie's Pizza for a shot they had with a bus. They actually had a full city bus out here, and you can see the Louie sign in this next shot. It was perfect because Back to the Future the ride wasn't here yet, but the bus would have been blocking it anyways. The bus would have been sitting right here, and you can see that Louie sign in the background of this shot. There's also a car parked right underneath Louie's restaurant. Very interesting. This is where the bus pulled up, and they made this a regular bus stop in the TV show. The thing about this is, it always blows my mind that all of this took place right here in such a busy area where everyday guests and workers are. I mean, they filmed so many things here, and I'm wondering if there were any guests here who were standing off, you know, in the background, just watching them film a TV show. Our next spot's gonna be here at Mel's Drive-In. They had a shot of the gentleman. They removed all these cars here for filming, but they had a shot right about here. The three guys would have been standing right next to this yellow car, the Deuce Coupe, the 32 Deuce Coupe that is. They would have been standing. You can see this little curve right here in the concrete, right behind the guy in the middle there. This was during the opening credits of one of the episodes. Very cool. A early Mel's Drive-In. There's a shot of one of the guys standing right in front of this glass work here, talking, wearing a very 90s button-down shirt. I believe everybody's dad had that shirt in the 90s. It came with the territory of being a dad, but this is a very 90s design here to me. A lot of things in the 80s and 90s had that design. I bet it started in the 50s and just continued, you know, 30 years later. But this is where he was standing, right here. And now this was used for the cafe shot. In fact, they still had tables and everything out here. They were a lot different back then. They weren't connected like the tables and chairs are now, but you can see this door here and this little underhang and that entrance to that store in this shot, as well as these two poles right about here. They had a whole bunch of extras out here enjoying their lunch. And this was the cafe they used. It was not Mel's. This was a kind of a, I guess you could say like an upper class cafe is what they were using this area for. Now, did you or your family ever watch Superforce in its 2 seasons that it was airing on television? I never heard of this TV show. Definitely wasn't around when I was, you know, a kid watching reruns. I'm not even sure if it had reruns. I had to look this up, and I watched a few episodes that are on YouTube. So if you guys want to look those up, look up Superforce on YouTube. You'll be able to find some full episodes. Not a bad TV show. I just think at that time it was up against some major blockbuster hits that were kind of overshadowing that TV show. But I believe the TV show could have had a really good run if it would have stuck it out. But I'm glad we got to walk around here today and find some of the locations, because I'm all about finding filming locations, even for something that most people probably have never seen in their life. I still want to document it because I'm a big fan of the 90s and filming here in Central Florida. Lots of films and TV shows were done here, and I'm all about hunting down the spots and documenting it and putting it out there so other people can see this. So if you did enjoy this episode, please click the thumbs up button. But I think we took care of business today here at Universal Orlando Resort, tracking down the filming locations from the 1990 action-packed TV series Super Force that took place in the future of 2020. Hard to believe we were out of 2020. Thank goodness we're out of 2020, but we could have used someone like Zack Stone during those times for sure. He would have kept everything safe and running smoothly. But I will see you guys on the next adventure. Until then, stay weird. Goodbye.